Let's talk to JB real quick. This may be something that you want to address as well, Christy. They're calling about people with a uterus who don't identify as a woman. Now, JB, you are on the air.
Hi, how's everybody?
Good, good. How are you tonight?
I'm good. So yeah, I was just wondering because I'm trans and I find that I have really bad PMS and I don't know, I just whenever it comes to that time of the month, I just really get disgusted with myself in a way that I can't control. And
sure.
I don't know if there's any advice you'd have to mitigate that.
Yeah, so as I said earlier as well on the show, there are some women who go into such a dark space, like as you say, describe like self-disgust, self-hatred, maybe also like some people lash out and say things they might not mean, or little things might explode into massive things in a way that it causes really, really, really severe suffering. I know there are I have read there are some people being treated with fluoxetine, small doses, and just temporarily around the PMS time. Now, if this is done where you live or in the US, or I live in Germany, Swedish by birth, so I don't really know like what the suggested treatments are where you live, and I'm not a medical doctor, so I'm not here to give any sort of like medical advice in that way either, so I put a little bit of a red flag on my suggestion, but I know there are ways to treat this. There's also a name for this condition. Now, of course, I'm completely blanking because it's like 3 a.m. in the morning here, and my brain is turning into some sort of like soggy mush. but there is a name to the syndrome that you might be describing, and there is help to get, because that dark place can be extremely dark, and you deserve to get help for it.
Sure. And I guess, JB, I want to clarify your concerns here a little bit, because my sense from what you're saying is that, yes, there are concerns specifically around the hormone swings and some of the physical discomfort around your period and things along those lines. But there's also a meaningful sense that this is not the way your body was meant to be, or that this is not connected to your identity. And this is sort of femininity, like forcing itself on you in some ways. Is that kind of your experience?
Yeah. Like I try to separate myself from it a little bit by being like, well, I have a period, but it's not mine, kind of. But it kind of helps to.
The indefinite article can really help create some separation there. And I get that. I guess I just want to acknowledge that as we're having conversations like this one, folks might often refer to these as like women's issues. And aside from the fact that that's asinine, because we're all humans, we're all in this together, we just spent all of last week talking about how that type of gender critical lens that connects menstruation specifically with women not only misses out on the fact that a lot of women don't menstruate, but that a lot of folks who menstruate are not women. And I hope that we've been mindful in our language here and not kind of furthering that particular lens or stereotype. But I also want to recognize the deep cultural connections and these notions of femininity being deeply wrapped up in a particular bodily function that doesn't describe you or your experience in any kind of real way. And so,
I mean, just look at me. I don't menstruate at all. And I have I mean, for me, I identify as a woman, as female, but I have always had a very, very strong masculine side to me, and I have had when I became pregnant, it felt like my entire person was taken away from me. And I know there's a lot of like the right story that you're supposed to tell as a woman is that, oh, pregnancy, I was glowing and it was wonderful. It was hell, because I felt like my body was taken away from me. Suddenly this like sort of like puffed up femininity intruded on me. You know, I've always been like strong and athletic and powerful, and suddenly I felt like a cow. You know, like it wasn't me at all. And then every single time when I got my period, I also had similar feelings of feeling almost my femininity was pushed up in my face, but it was not the femininity that I stood for. It was a different type of femininity that I couldn't really cope with it. So the day I actually removed my uterus, like firstly I got rid of a lot of pain, but I've never felt as much me as when I am now. Like, I'm a woman, but I don't have a uterus. I am not fertile at all, and I have never felt as much me as I feel now. I feel like stronger, empowered, and I feel good about it. So even though my experience is probably like a tiny like crumb of your experience, but I just want to say that I understand where these feelings can come from. I am a sort of, in some way I have experiences as well, and I think before PMS it just becomes a lot worse. Yeah.